Bedrich Smetana was a Czech composer who was proud of his nation. After many years living outside the Czech Republic, Smetana returned to Prague and began writing songs that demonstrated the love and patriotism he had for his country. In the fall of 1874, when Smetana was 50 years old, he became plagued with what he referred to as ear infections, which ultimately took his hearing. In a journal entry on October 30th of 1874, Smetana wrote that he could hear nothing in either his right or left ears. The sickness left him feeling continual pain, with a rushing noise that never ceased. Despite these health conditions that left him disheartened and depressed, he began composing again, and on November 30th, 1874, began writing Vitava, or the Moldau. Spawning from an excursion he made with friends to the Sumava Valley in 1867, Smetana wrote this song to pay homage to the beauty of the river, the Vitava. He wrote the following in his diary. Today I took an excursion to the St. John Rapids, where I sailed in a boat through the huge waves at high water. The view of the landscape on either side was both beautiful and grand. Smetana decided the beauty of the song could not fit in symphonic form and chose to push away from the tradition and write it as a symphonic poem. In the beginning, we heard a light, flowing theme which signifies two springs, one warm and one cold, coming together to form the majestic river. As more springs flow into the river, the orchestration builds. Finally, we are introduced to the melodic theme that reoccurs throughout the piece. The theme is the mighty river flowing downstream at its own will. This is the only section of the movement that has a repeat, making the music the same for both these sections. By doing this, Smetana cements the idea of a flowing, stately river. We become attached to the theme and are now willing to go with the river on an adventure. The light flowing theme that was introduced to us by the flute at the opening of this piece stays with us throughout almost the entire piece. The gliding up and down persistent of the 16th notes that signify the river are always an undercurrent to each new scene that we are taken through. Through the light dancing and mysterious tinkling to the bugle calls of the hunt, we are always on the river. As the Moldau flows downstream, we see a hunting party off the banks of the river. In this section, the music gives us a jubilant feel, with the call of the horn to begin the hunt, or perhaps to tell us the prey has been caught. Each new section is different. Smetana wanted the freedom to express every new experience through his music and did not want to be held down by a strict form. Although he does return to the main theme, in general, each new section has a distinct feel as he forms a clear picture in our heads. As we flow away from the hunting party, we make our way down the river and come across a lively wedding held in a village close to the banks. The water's pull is not as strong at this point in the river, and the music that is heard coming from the wedding party takes over, with the lower instruments laying down a steady, eighth-note rhythm, giving this section a polka-like feel. As is the purpose of a symphonic poem, Smetana paints a wonderful short story for us with the music. As the sun sets and the moon rises, the Moldau takes us through a gorge where we see the water nymphs of legend bathing in the moonlight. The flowing water in the form of the gliding up and down motion of the 16th notes returns to the music once again, with the flutes and clarinet taking the lead. As the 16th notes persist, the string instruments take on a slow and mysterious melody. The harp enters, giving us appreciated and strummed chords. Though only 3 measures longer than the next largest section in Smetana's poem, the water nymph section takes the most time. This is because the pulse slows for this section, giving the air of mystery and the pull of the moonlight more emphasis. As the sun rises, we once again return to the main theme. The tempo is sped back up, and we are able to hear that the water is still strong. As the main theme calls out, there are transitions that are meant to sound as warnings for what might be coming. One last time, our main theme calls, but this time not in E minor as previously heard, but E major. The water grows tumultuous as we finally reach the destination that was the original inspiration for the Moldau, St. John Rapids. In this section, dissonance rings out, and the music is unsettled, perfectly reflecting the section of river it was composed for. The flute acts as the siren, warning of the danger that we have come into. After Smetana spent time visiting the rapids, he wrote the following in his diary. Today I took an excursion to the St. John Rapids, where I sailed in a boat through the huge waves at high water. The view of the landscape on either side was both beautiful and grand. Finally, we have reached our destination. The main theme makes a return, but in rather a grandiose way. The river has reached Prague. When describing the scene we have now come across, a conductor once wrote, "The river reaches Prague, where to grand apprecios of a regal hymn, it flows past the castle Vyšehrad, once the seat of a power for Bohemian kings." The music displays a grand theme and captures the majesty that one could feel while gazing on the sight. Smetana now slows to a trickle as the music fades, ending with drastic ascending and descending patterns. Our journey and Smetana's patriotic piece now come to an end, closing with a final 2-chord cadence.